Hello, everybody. Welcome to the No Guts, No Galaxy podcast number 181. We are your hosts, Daeron and Phil. Today is Wednesday, October 9th, 2019.
And support for this podcast is brought to you by you, our patrons, our Twitch subs, our viewers. If you'd like to help support the podcast, become a Twitch sub today. Click on that link above. And of course, find out more over at patreon.com/NoGutsNoGalaxy.
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I figure you wear a hat, so I have to wear a hat.
That's awesome, dude. I love it.
Yeah?
It's styling.
Yeah. I mean, I know why you wear a hat. I don't have to wear a hat. You don't either, man.
Buddy.
Have you ever thought about just shaving it?
Yeah. I do.
Do you not?
Wait, you're not talking about the beard, right? You're talking about the hair.
Yes, your chrome dome. Nice.
I do not have a weird shaped head. I got very lucky that I look okay bald. So,
yeah.
I like wearing my hat, man.
So let me ask a question: Are you Friar Tuck right now?
I've let it grow out a little bit. That's I usually just shave with clippers or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people with beards like myself, it really is just a result of laziness. And so
100%.
Yeah, right.
That's why I have anything resigned. It's just like, oh, you're growing it out again. Yeah, I've been lazy for like 2 months. That's what it is. Like,
so that same laziness applies to shaving my head as well. Gotcha. When I got a special event where I'm going out and I don't want to wear my hat or whatever, I'll take the clippers to my head.
Gotcha.
But anyway.
Yeah.
Other than our hair and our hats, as you can tell, maybe some of you know from the streams this week and last week, and maybe from the sound of my voice, I still am a little sick. So hopefully within the next day or two, that is gone completely. But
do you think you get that from your kid?
Getting
100%?
Sick?
Yeah, 100% from your kid.
99.9% of the time, yes. But this time around, it was Rebecca.
Oh, did she get? She got it
from a kid.
Oh, okay. Well,
she got it not from Micah. She got it from. She was babysitting some friends.
Gotcha.
Kids.
Dude,
yeah.
They're like cesspools.
Well, they do carry the diseases, and so
the entire world will be brought down by children.
It will be,
and,
dude. That's the apocalypse movie.
Yeah.
Is
the kids will survive. Everyone else will die, though. So, yeah. But So. Here we are back. I'm glad you're feeling better. You sounded horrible.
Pretty out of it.
Yeah, and NyQuil apparently is I know what to let's sort of dump in your drinks without you knowing. Just
I think don't rappers talk about taking NyQuil? I think it's pretty.
What?
It's yeah,
what
dude.
Did you just say?
It's true. Look it up. Google it. It's a well-known. Do I want to say drug? It affects you, man. Like.
Well, depending, I do know, unfortunately, I do know of a story resulting in cold medicine. Basically, people like taking copious amounts of it because the ingredients in there, and it would make you high as a kite. I do know that has happened. Not a firsthand account, but I have known people that have done it. No, I don't do drugs. My drug is coffee and caffeine. That's my drug of choice. So Which
I'll tell you what. Having drank a lot of coffee in my lifetime and smoked some marijuana, I get more withdrawals after when I don't drink coffee for a few days than I do.
Oh, dude, that headache it doesn't go away.
That caffeine headache, dude, is brutal.
Is brutal. Yes, mm-hmm. Like I am 100% addicted to coffee, but I feel like. That's a hell of a lot better.
It's a bean that's grown on trees or bushes.
It's a natural. Yeah, it's natural.
It's not being made by Walter White and Jesse Pinkman in some lab. Hey, did you finish that series? And are you going to watch the movie?
Okay, so I did finish Breaking Bad. And you know what's funny about that? I remember finishing it. Spoiler alert. It never actually shows him die. That is 100% correct. It does not show you. So is
he still alive?
I mean, it shows you that he got shot and he's laying there and his eyes. But there is a dude who leans down to check for a pulse. It does not.
I know.
Conclude that he dies. Also, Jesse Pinkman Colin Farrell have a child, and I am the offspring of that. I have the eyebrows of Colin Farrell, and I just randomly just walk around and say, bitch, dude,
Okay.
Will I watch it? Yes. But what I'm intrigued about is, will Walter White be there? I don't know.
I like all the side characters too. What's the bald bald hitman bodyguard guy?
Yeah. And dude, the entire things were coming to a head, especially with once the brother-in-law, and you felt, But what's funny about all those shows is like so many of those, the conflicts that happen. Same thing with like Batman versus Superman. If you just open your mouth and just communicated like a normal human being, some of those would have been so, like, again, with the Breaking Bad, like so many of the situations if him and his wife just would have talked, or just say words to the other people.
Dude, do you go crazy like watching sitcoms and watching movies when you know that everything could be resolved? Just like somebody interrupts somebody in a show or whatever, and that all of a sudden derails all communication.
Dude, where
in real life that would never happen.
If someone kidnaps my mom, and you're someone I don't like, I'm gonna be like, look, dude, I don't have enough time for your shit. I'm worried about my mom. And then you'd be like, oh, what's wrong with your mom? And be like, oh, well, Deborah, blah, blah, blah. And you'd be like, solved. No conflict.
But then that would just ruin stories, wouldn't it?
Of course. I don't know. Yeah. But so Breaking Bad, I watched the trailer. Jesse looks like, Jesse is, unfortunately, like, Walter really screwed him in a lot of ways. Like, I feel bad for Jesse. Like, that's how I always felt. Yes, of course, he made his own decisions, and
he made some poor choices.
Yes, poor choices, and of course, he was very rash and stuff. But like, Walter used that and never really treated him as equal. I don't know. Like, it's
there were moments where I think he appreciated them and connected. But I know what you're saying. Yeah. So that's what's the name of that movie?
I don't even know.
Yeah, El Camino.
El Camino.
Anyway, that'll be coming out. I plan on watching it. What else is happening in the world of entertainment these days?
The new Rambo? I have not seen the new Rambo.
I don't think I'm going to see it, just because like all the reviews.
Have you seen that? Did you see the last one?
Reviews, but the last Rambo, no.
Yeah, so I saw it.
Yeah.
Okay, so he never leaves the jungle. He's still there. He's like working some like backwoods.
Well, not in this one though, right?
Okay, hold on. The reason why this is important is if you didn't see the last one, you need to, because you'd be like, he's at a farm or something. Like, how did he's back in the US?
Right.
Basically, he's minding his own business, working something, catching cobras for this like snake pit farm tourism bullshit thing. Right.
Okay.
And some people, American, clean shaven guys, hey, we want to hire you to take us up because there's atrocities going on, genocides going on up north. Some like Vietnamese general or like some rebel is like killing people or whatever. And we want to go up there and help and support. And he's like, no, go home. You need to go home. And of course, it plays on the whole, they're like, why, blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, there's a woman involved, and she convinces him to take him up there.
This is everything, doesn't it?
Right. Yeah. And of course, very quickly escalates. She gets captured. He goes up there, blah, de, da, 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 the whole entire movie. Lots of killing, blah, blah, blah. But, of course. And then at the very end, you see him going home to the Rambo farm. He's back home because she had asked him, why didn't you go home or something like that? And so he goes home. So that's the last scene, is you see him walking down the gravel path and you don't know if someone's still alive. You'd assume, because the farm isn't like run down or whatever. Right. So spoilers, of course. I haven't seen the new one, but it's going to continue from that. So
so how do you feel about like those 80s action movies being made now? Do they have the same feel for you? For example, I've watched all the Expendables movies.
Yeah.
What are your feelings on those types of movies these days?
I don't mind them. Like the Expendables, it's over the top. I felt like Rambo, if anything, I wouldn't say you relate to, but the idea of like
you relate to.
No, the idea of like a Vietnam vet coming back and not fitting in. The idea that like that was a thing that I could have experienced if that mentality wouldn't have been switched or whatever.
Well, my dad did,
right?
Like when he came back from Vietnam,
yeah,
they totally were looked down upon.
There was no PTSD. There was no support systems. I mean, blah, 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 blah. So, and that movie was dark. It was, I mean, really, the original Rambo, it wasn't a fairy tale. It wasn't like a spoof. It wasn't like
the original
Expendables.
Was pretty different from everything.
But it wasn't like the Expendables. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't
totally agree.
Over the top for story and action. It was, The
first one was really good.
Yeah. So hold on. The first, I was trying to remember this. The first one was him.
First Blood.
Right. Coming home. Right. And it was in the forest and the sheriff. Right. That was the first one. And then the second one where he goes, he goes back to,
he gets recruited
Vietnam?
Or whatever. Yeah.
And then the third one was Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Or was the second one Afghanistan, or the second one was
I don't know.
Vietnam? Anyways, one of the two, and then it skips to the latest or whatever. I don't mind the newer movies. Again, he's directing them, so I feel like it's kept that sort of more serious tone instead of just
But
what
do you think of his age?
Dude,
he's in damn good shape for his age.
Like, you don't realize. He lives the wealth and fitness lifestyle. Like he lives it, and obviously, the dude is still very, very fit.
No doubt about it.
So, anyways, I don't mind.
Okay, there's movies, and I guess there's not a lot on TV right now.
Well, I will say, if you've never watched this, you need to watch this. And I've watched all till the latest season. The latest season just came out. But if you haven't watched Peaky Blinders,
don't even know what that is.
It's on Netflix.
Dude, okay, I'll let you get back to this. But are you feeling like these days that there's so much stuff coming out that you're just completely missing half of it? Like, I don't even know what this is that you just said. And I watch videos that are like the best things on Netflix that you're not seeing. I watch all those videos, but there's still so much stuff coming out on Amazon, Netflix, and all the other stuff.
Disney is going to be coming up. There's multiple different streaming services coming.
Content overload. So what is this show, Peaky? What did you call it?
Peaky Blinders. It's basically about a family right after World War I, set in England. They're sort of a gypsies that use brutality and their influence. You would almost gang to some extent. You might relate them, or like a mob, or and influence, and because back then there was almost like different clans, if you will, like of different parts of England, right? Like Liverpool and stuff. The people ran things underground, and it was all mix and mash. And it was fantastic. If you haven't watched it, if you like that era, but two, because it's that era, there's no like CGI stuff too. So it's just like the filming, the cinematography is great. The actors are fantastic. And the latest season just came out, and I'm really intrigued about it. And of course, like, it's set in an era where it's right after World War I. So all of these guys that just went through, like, as far as their characters, went through through hell and back.
Never experienced before in all of history.
Yeah. And as far as the trench warfare and stuff. So you've got all that, and it sort of sets the tone for, and it has to do with like how England is trying to handle it, and the Parliament and the people in charge, Winston Churchill and stuff, and of course the time frame is still very volatile and stuff like that. But anyways, Peaky Blinders, if you haven't watched it, it's fantastic. Like,
there you go.
Yes.
I feel like we've got to talk about because I did start to bring it up yesterday during the stream. Rogan and that Navy pilot.
Yes.
So, dude, okay, so a real quick recap. If any of you are familiar with Rogan's podcast, he had I'm losing the guy's name from not Area 51, but that subsection of it. The UFO guy. What was his name?
1 second, I will get you.
I can always bring it up instantly, and of course, while we're in the podcast, I can't remember his name.
No.
But anyway,
I know who.
I know you know who it is.
Bob Lazar.
Bob Lazar. So thank you.
Yes.
I didn't so much like the documentary because I don't really like that documentarian. I don't like that guy, and I feel like he's in it for himself and for notoriety.
Sure.
Which it's okay. Movies and whatever. That's fine. But Bob Lazar, I totally connect with, and I feel like he's telling the truth. And I've watched tons of videos that from different viewpoints of whether he's telling the truth or not, body language and the lie detector test and all that stuff. My conclusion is that this guy at least believes everything that he's saying, whether or not it's alien or not. But now you watch this Navy pilot talk about it, dude. Like, it kind of, it's one of those things that kind of just blows your mind, because here we are, on Earth, worrying about all of our little daily problems about being here on Earth. But I feel like there's a serious possibility and potential that there's something else out there, and that changes everything. Like all perspective of all of us little people here on Earth. What did you think after the podcast with the pilot?
Okay, so
and this was one of the pilots that witnessed these things firsthand. He was like the crew that landed before the crew that went up and caught it on camera. So they were chasing these little tic-tac UFOs around, and then the crew that went up right after him actually got it on camera, and and so forth. And you can listen to the podcast to hear more. But what was your take on all that?
Okay, so I mean, I think you have to take a step back and look at when you had Bob Lazar on. I think we've talked about that.
Yeah, we have.
I think Bob is telling 100% the truth of him being at that installation. The thing that you have to, I don't jump to it's aliens. I'm not one of those where like conspiracy theory, it's aliens. Because what you don't know, and he actually admits this, is you don't know where the tech came from, if it's real, or anything like that. Disinformation is a thing, that government, it works great. So this Navy pilot comes on and sort of to tell people, basically it's about 2-3 months ago, it's the declassified, the Pentagon released the video footage, and it's public domain now, of they call them AAVs, advanced aerospace vehicles, or whatever. It's basically UFOs, and it's
the new sexy name for UFOs. There's a link in chat just to the Joe Rogan podcast. You can go look back and you can find Bob Lazar, and you can find the Navy pilot was just recent. So it's all there. And the Navy
pilot, the one we're talking about is Commander David Fravor. So here's the kicker. He comes on, and what I didn't like about when these stories started breaking, it was CNN, MSNBC, CBS, Fox, whatever, is some of these people were very dismissive. They basically were dismissing that these accounts and the people that were giving the accounts basically weren't qualified to do so.
Right.
And that they didn't have the experience. And here's this, by the way, pilots are the top of the top as far as
absolutely, dude. That is that's hard to get that position.
You talk to any of these guys, and they're smart individuals. So for me, what's interesting is the conclusion I came from is there's like 3 possible results. One, there is something here, and I'm not going to say aliens, but someone has some type of technology that defies everything that we currently have as material science as well. We know it's he said it. That one guy said it. We know how, like it's anti-gravity, whatever. We know it doesn't break the physics. We know you can do it. It's just there's no known entity as far as maybe there is in the U.S. Who knows? Maybe Russia. Who knows? But here's the kicker. So either someone has a technology that is
way beyond. Either
anything,
it's us. Yeah.
Except anything that the leading bodies of governments publicly have. 2, it's been going on for longer than our lifetimes. It's been going on since the early 1900s that have documented. And also, too, with that is we mentioned this last time we were talking about this, which is there's multiple accounts of airline pilots, commercial airline pilots being basically like destroyed, that you can't say anything. And that's what he sort of alluded to, which is you sort of get it, you catch a lot of shit about, oh, you saw little green men, you know, blah, 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 you know.
He said they totally get made fun of.
But
they know when they're landing, they're going to get made fun of.
The difference between this is his account and his wingman's account, right? And they also had their co-pilots with them. But then there's video footage. This was the first like documented video footage of something that, you know, was captured. And then there was other reports too. There was the one that moved, like Bob Lazar said, and blah blah blah. And I'm sure there will be other stuff. So
he said that there's a lot more of them happening these days. Like there's more and more encounters
that we know about it, because he said the radar system. That's the big difference. The radar system is picking this stuff up. Because
here's the thing, though. If it was U.S. based technology, do you think the U.S. Navy would send U.S. Navy pilots to
100%? Yeah, because they wouldn't know about it. Think about the black.
Yeah, but wouldn't it come from the top? Like, don't go pursue that?
Nope, because that also then creates a. Think about this.
A mystery or whatever.
Yeah, a disinformation. I mean, it's the same thing with like the SR, all the stealth bombers and stuff. Yep. I'm sure there was stuff with the F-22. I mean, think about that. It's a perfect cover-up, right? But
you know, this has nothing. This isn't even in the same realm as an F-22. You can take the most modern aircraft.
Yes, and what we don't know is, if you're going off what Bob Lazar was saying, is right. He was only given what he was given in his little compartmentalization sort of area. Which is
totally controlled information,
right? And controlled information. Now, what he says is there's anti-gravity and stuff, which may 100% true. But regardless, they could have already made advances, and they were just sort of seeing what else he could have came up, or he didn't.
They learned how to make Tic Tacs fly.
But here's the thing: is then that brings up the question: if the third option is something, I mean, think about it. 80,000 feet down to 20,000 feet. And it's, so, you know why no one talks about it? It's not because you don't want to be labeled freaking crazy. It's just the implications, what you're saying.
It blows your mind.
Well, it's sci-fi. It's sci-fi. It's the fact of, well, until you can actually tell me or show me 100% proof, then.
Look, dude, if there is proof that there's alien technology, let's say it's unmanned, whatever, visiting our planet, it literally changes fucking everything. And so that's why I think.
But it could be just.
But it could be.
It could be it could be a government that found something or discovered something or what. I mean, I don't.
Those Saudis have a lot of money, man. You never know what they.
I'm not a UFO nut. I'm not a conspiracy theory guy. So for me, sure, it's a possibility. Just like it's a possibility that we're not alone in the cosmos, and sure, there's a possibility. I'll give it that. But
some people won't believe until they've been probed, and then it's like.
But until I get I'm just like most people. I see it to believe it or whatever.
Yeah, you'll believe it when you see it.
But it's the thing about it, which is interesting, is that the stories of this type of technology from that source of Bob, back in the day, and then the idea of like these things being captured or doing exactly of the tech he's talking about, that at least collaborates what he saw, right? Yeah. Same thing with the hand readers and blah, 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 all that, blah, blah, blah. Poor guy. I mean, that destroyed his life.
Element 115.
But also, Tic Tac stock, just buy in, guys. Buy in.
I know, right? This is all just marketing by Tic Tac company.
Here's the thing. Like I said, I'm not saying there isn't. I'm just not buying into it. And I look at it as, okay, that's a possibility. But also the most, I guess, easy, like I forgot there's a reference to this. Like if it is... What's the easiest way to something? Then that probably describes what it is. I forgot.
I know what you're talking about.
But anyways, to me, what I think what's really cool about that interview,
Occam's razor.
Yeah, what's really cool about that interview is that you have a very educated and experienced individual that breaks down what happened, and he didn't embellish it. He said this is what it did. He himself even said, I'm not a nut. He's like, I don't think we're alone as far as in the grand cosmos, but he's like, something is going from 80,000 space, dropping down, doing its thing, and then they're leaving. You know, I've always wondered, because there's so much we just don't know about history.
What about what he said? No, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm bad at interrupting.
No,
so much we don't know about history.
There's so much we don't know about history. I mean, think about like everything. And I'm not saying alien intervention back then. What I'm saying is we just don't know our history past like X amount of time, a few thousand years. I mean, we don't know how
you're saying
or
that
when
the aliens came down and gave the monkeys some kind of drugs.
No, I'm not even saying that. What I'm saying is our documented history is and he actually interviewed Joe actually interviewed he's not even a really archaeologist. He's a I forgot. He's a theorist, and he theorized that there was North America hasn't been this empty, desolate. No, you know, there wasn't humans here. He actually was saying there was a large civilization, and that there was a cataclysmic event that changed. And then lo and behold, I mean, they're finding this huge. He was talking about it. This huge, basically, impact of a asteroid or comet, whatever. In the sort of Canada, Hancock. And so what's interesting to me is, this is sort of a tangent, but he talked about they were doing construction in the 80s or 90s in California of a highway. And whenever you're going through, you have to have an archaeologist there just to make sure if you found bones or whatever.
Right.
And they found something, and they stopped, halted, and did the documentation. Now they didn't even release the information until the 2000 period because it was so controversial. They found basically like mammoth tusks that were positioned that only humans could do. They were like upright, and there was other information. So, but here's the kicker: it wasn't 10,000 years. It wasn't 15,000 years. It was like 100,000 years. And this is one of his points, was the archaeologist sort of group sort of shuns looking past 15,000 years in the US because nothing was there. Well, then Here you have this evidence. My point being with all this is we have so little information about our past, and we'd like to think that like, oh, well, they're, you know, how many times have you heard civilization started X amount of years ago? Cities or towns and agriculture only happened X amount of years ago. And I feel like it's so stupid to
Earth was created 5,000 years ago.
Put a number on that, because what we're seeing time and time again is that number keeps getting pushed back. And oh, wow, they did have like millions upon millions of people, and you know, North America wasn't empty, or South America. And anyways,
the thing is, we think we like to think that we're at the pinnacle of understanding, but 100 years from now, we're going to look back at the stuff that we thought we understood today, and we're going to laugh. You know, assuming we're around in 100 years.
You're talking about more of like our intelligence, and there's just as intelligent people now. Granted, you could also argue there's more potentials for Einsteins now than there was back then because we physically have more people, right? Sure. But the difference being is humans are smart. They used to figure out ways to, however they did the pyramids, however it was done, or however the pyramids in South America and Mexico and stuff, like all these things, they found solutions to that. And you know, it's funny about even the pyramids that they're finding, I just was listening to this, they're finding more and more that they think it wasn't like slave. I think you get brought up, oh, they use slave labor. Well, that they're actually pointing towards, no, they actually probably just had a metric shit ton of people that knew how to build, some architects and like very, you know, skilled individuals, right? So
it was architect labor.
My point being, you know, they use mammoths.
That's who was lifting them all.
Do you know that mammoths were around back then? That they actually, that was, yeah. So think about that.
I'll believe it when I see it. So the Tic Tac thing, though, I do want to point out one thing that he said. You know, back to the UFO thing, is that, remember when he was talking about how he was looping around to check it out, and then he basically cut straight across and was flying towards it, and it was almost cutting right across in front of him, and it disappeared. And then even the pilot or the plane that was above them, those guys saw it disappear.
Where to go?
Yeah. And he brought up the example of the fastest plane we can think of, the SR-71. And you know, when I was a kid, I was 12 years old, going to the World's Fair in Canada. And we were going through this big valley, and we had an SR-71 come down and do a sonic boom right over us and then just take off. And he was absolutely right. That's a fast freaking plane. Yeah. But you could see it getting smaller and smaller and smaller for like 60 seconds to 2 minutes or whatever. And that's what he said would happen. and that thing literally vanished from his sight right in front of him, vanished from the sight of the plane that was like 20,000 feet above them
to 40 miles, 60 miles away.
That kind of speed is insane. And, you know, so obviously in my mind, a lot of possibilities. I don't know anything as far as what the truth is, but God,
And I talked to my buddy about this, funny enough, and one of the things I brought up was, even if someone here, a government agency actually has that technology, you heard them say it changes everything.
Everything.
And unfortunately, that also would change everything when it comes to war.
Weapons, right? And because you have nuclear missiles that can go from here to there.
No, you don't even need them. No. Just think of a device that could just go through what I mean. So that's the problem, is like, I don't know if we're ready. So maybe,
and that may be why it's not.
And maybe that, I don't know. But
because any technology we have that 100% that is good.
Yes, 100% can be the U.S. So don't write that off. It 100% could be Black Ops, because Black Ops isn't going to share that information. It is what it is. And even if there was an incident where one of our guys intercepted and tried to engage, well, you heard them, they got jammed, which is, again, a hostile act, whatever. But even if a pilot went down because of a whatever, it wouldn't come out. It would just, so, yeah.
We're not going to get into, I threw out the 5,000 years, but we're not going to get into biblical stories.
Anyway, I found it interesting. It's always cool hearing firsthand accounts of that kind of stuff. And I don't buy, like I said, I don't buy into, is it a possibility? Sure. But there's probably other possibilities as well that are just as, you know.
Well, all it does is raise a bunch of questions. Yeah. It doesn't answer things. It just, it's a bunch of questions, and we're not going to be able to. To me, it's just super interesting, and the possibilities are super cool. But anyway, enough about that. Any other interesting things happen over the last week or since we last did a podcast?
Obviously we talked about container homes. We talked about, boat homes. Any new updates on the boat stuff, or just no?
Oh, I'm still loving it. It's, tons of videos and tons of research, and but I'm not any closer to being on one. Did go talk to some people yesterday, and all the normal stuff, just moving forward, seeing what we can learn and find out. What about you?
So obviously we talked about, there's possibility for us moving depending on my wife's career choices and stuff like that. And some of our goals too, because the reality of it is like, when we moved from our last home into this home, I remember we had the conversation of like, if we do that, which is fine, but it's a more expensive home. So, it's going to impact potential, time for vacation or being able to afford, whatever. And so,
you're going to come out and visit me? Vacation.
Well, no, you're going to get a boat, and then you're going to sail all the way around, and we'll meet you at the ocean.
I don't know about that, man. That side of the country gets some crazy weather.
So it does look like we're going to be moving, which is a big bummer, but we're going to be okay. And of course, my wife is a little bit bummed and stuff like that, but
it doesn't have to be a bummer. You can totally fall in love with your new place.
Attachment and dreams. And for me, I love the home, but I'm not in love with the home. Like it's,
home is where the heart is, man.
Yeah. So I look at it, it's an adventure, because I'm like, okay, cool. Like, what are we going to do? Where are we going to go? We're probably going to be around this area. We may even stay in the same town, or we may look towards a little bit closer to, we don't know. So yeah, we've got a lot of decisions to make. Obviously it sucks because I've got this awesome backdrop that I'm going to have to.
That you worked on and
yeah. And what also sucks is I did all that work on our cabinets, paint them, and I have to repaint them.
Oh yeah.
Because it's a really nice color my wife chose. It's this like silky, smooth green, like a nice color, but people like white and off-white sort of stuff. So anyways, it won't be as hard because I don't have to they had polyurethane stuff, so I had to strip all that off and stuff. Now I just do a light sanding, I'll paint over them, and it'll be good. But that's going to be a lot of work. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk all things BattleTech and MechWarrior, at least what we have to talk about this week.
Okay.
MechWarrior Online, we can start off there. There's not a whole lot. We've been playing and having fun. We've been incorporating, the things into our stream, the C-bills and the betting, and we've been having a good time with that.
And you know what? If you're a streamer out there, definitely look at doing something similar, because for me, at least, what I find, and you can give your input, is I feel like it's like having a challenge every single match, right? That, to me at least. And I will try my best sometimes, and sometimes it just doesn't happen. Yeah, it's like daily stuff, but every single match. So yeah,
we've been having a good time with it. It's creating some good interaction, and just changing things up, switching things up a little bit. We will continue kind of honing that, what we're doing in our stream, and fine tuning it and adding some things, changing it up a little bit. Like we mentioned, we want to, get you some coffee mugs or whatever. We're talking about ways to incorporate other things into what we're doing, but we're having a good time with the streaming. So we hope you join us Monday through Friday. Currently right now, the current sale is the Scary Good Mech Pack sale. I can find some details. I know it's going on till the 11th, October 11th, and it's Mastery bundles added 50% off, MC in game, and 50% off in US dollars in the gift store.
With October 11th, the failed diplomacy event and challenges are going on, which is basically IS mechs and clan mechs, which we knocked out pretty much in one stream, so about 4 hours each, so 8 hours total.
You were doing the failed diplomacy event as well as doing our own personal challenges in stream. That was a busy day.
Well, and because it made sense, it was like, okay, how many can I get 500 damages to knock this out or whatever.
Right.
So for me, it was fun because, again, it forces me to get outside of like mechs that I may just ignore. I don't know. I'm not a big Arctic Cheetah fan, or Miss Lynx, but I hop in them and I had a blast in both of them. Machine guns, and I got like 1,000 damage on one. I hopped in what mech was I in? I got it was the most ridiculous match, and it was like 1,000 damage plus, and
in a mech that you wouldn't have been using.
And it was and it was so fun to watch, obviously, to be a part of that, than just watching chat and stuff like that. So
absolutely,
of course, I would love to have daily stuff and more of that. But as a streamer, you're able to do that yourself if you implement some type of, we did
get a little creative.
Yeah, we called them C-bills, and it makes it nice and easy. And then it allows us to interact with you guys, the chat, a lot more. So I like it. And if anything, with the events plus that, makes you step outside the box and challenge yourself. So kudos there. Now, MechWarrior 5 just announced the launch party for their launch party of MechWarrior 5, but also the 20-year anniversary. Details you can find on the website, as well as there's tickets. I don't know if they're up for sale already, but I think it's $25.
They're up for sale today.
Yep, $25.
And there's currently 100, or at least when they went on sale, there was 100 spots open. I know Russ did say during the AMA that they're monitoring that, so maybe they'll add spots if they sell out quickly or not. But it is not MechCon, so it's important to know that this is number one, a MechWarrior 5 launch party. Number two, it's a 20-year anniversary party for PGI, and number three, it's also kind of a Christmas party for PGI. So
it is catered,
not MechCon. There's
beer, food there. The pods will be there as well, and I'm sure there'll be other stations for that. So if you want to go, make sure to check that out. I know before anybody asks, I will not be going. Unfortunately, that is way too close to the holidays. If it was normal time, that would work. But I've got 2 families to visit, and so I will not be there. Now, Daeron might. He doesn't know, but he lives a little bit closer.
Yeah, so I'm going to be taking a break. I got to tell the elves and Mrs. Claus that I'm going to be maybe gone for the day. So we'll see. I mean, I am only 3 hours away, so at this point, I plan on attending. But we'll see how it goes. I might
just throw my own little party. Whatever. I'll just set up tabletops and some webcams out there, and we'll just there'll be lots of beer and
GNG Con is just with Phil on his stream.
Just me and my dogs.
So there was as we mentioned, there was the AMA today.
Yep.
And that's one of the topics Russ talked about was the launch party, but he also talked about which is something that a lot of streamers have been asking about, is when can they stream the beta, essentially? And the answer is that it's being pushed to the end of November. The demo, they're calling it. They're not even calling it a beta at this point, right?
No,
They're
it's no beta. It's basically a demo. But there's no NDA. You can stream
everything except for the storyline, right?
Well, from my understanding, from listening to it, it's basically the skirmish game mode, but that's going to be limited as well. So basically, he said in the full gamut of skirmish, there's so many options that you can choose. And the reason why they're not releasing that is then some people could just play that indefinitely, right? But, yes, the ability, they don't want any spoilers out there, no storyline, stuff like that. But it's basically a demo of skirmish, so you'll be able to play that. And of course, it got pushed to the end of November. I think he said the 26th. I think is November 26th. And of course, release is the 10th. Now, with this, he also said one of the main kickers is just hype. If it releases early in November, and if it was like the full game or what, then you have to deal with like, oh well, you're not allowed to stream it. Well, good luck with that.
There could be basically burnout if it's a whole month of streaming just one section, which is the skirmish. There could be, potentially, especially from people that are playing it a lot over that period of a month, there could be some burnout, and that doesn't help hype. I understand everybody wanting to get in it as soon as possible. So do we, obviously, right?
Yep.
But I also understand what he's talking about. You have to time that kind of thing so that when the game goes on sale or becomes public and it's released, you want to really make sure that's the peak of the hype. And so,
he did,
good or bad, right or wrong, that's what it is.
He did mention that videos and screenshots and stuff, expect November. That's when it's going to happen. He talked about
he did say that there was a outside firm or something doing the videos.
The trailers. He said there was two as well. He mentioned that there's going to be influencers involved. He mentioned that, again, November is the big one.
Well, he said there's two videos. One of them, he said,
I don't know if he gave...
Did he say it features the UI, or did he say it features the Mech Lab? Or
he said something alluding to the Mech Lab, but yeah, so we'll have to see there.
Influencers are basically YouTubers, Twitch streamers, etc., that influence a large group of people.
So, and then we've got one thing that caught my attention was no infantry. Sorry, I was looking at the word. No infantry at the launch of the game, but he didn't say there wouldn't ever be infantry, and that was sort of disheartening because I just wanted to be like, just mow down a bunch of just people. Totally,
dude, with flamers.
So I'm wondering, with that though, is that going to be something that someone just mods in and they don't have to worry about in the long scheme?
I'm sure it'll either be modded in or it'll be something that's added later, hopefully. But I would love to see infantry at some point.
Yeah. So yeah, the AMA went through. He answered a few other questions. It was just basically all those topics that he did announcements on. But then he branched off. We'll have that, by the way, the recording, because we have the one later on tonight as well. I just combine those two and then I upload them. So that'll be live for you tomorrow. BattleTech HBS, we haven't really had any updates on that. I looked around, nothing crazy. I did have something happen to me recently on stream, and then it was on Discord. Someone was asking how or what should they do with mods. They just started playing and they were wondering, look, if you download, because it was on sale not too long ago for it was like 30, 40 something % off. It was on Humble Bundle too. Play the campaign, play the vanilla campaign, go through it, and then decide to go from there. I had someone that I was playing Eve with, by the way, that was playing it. I was like, oh, you're playing? And he had so many questions. He was like, and I was like, just think of the Cold War in a future settings with mechs. Like, that's pretty much the gist of it.
I know, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then we had another update from BattleTech Catalyst with the Kickstarter. One thing to note out of it was the BattleTech magazine that they're doing. I forget how many doing. Off the top of my head, I want to say 5 or whatever runs, or maybe a few more. And it was part of the
Kickstarter
goals and stuff.
The
the
stretch
name
goals.
is called Shrapnel. That's all.
I like it. Shrapnel magazine.
Yeah.
You know, that could have easily been like a 80s metal magazine that I listened or read too. Shrapnel.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'll be cool. What I'm gonna like about the actual magazine is hopefully the artwork that goes along with it.
You know, speaking of artwork, there's been the updates as far as the mechs, and you know, another thing to point out was one of my artists that I like watching. Let me get his information here. He is working, I guess he's doing some of the 3D sculpts for the mechs. I'll find it for you really quick. But anyways, the battle armor just got released. The image for those.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
I'm scrolling down here. I'm trying to find it on our Twitter because I did see it. His name. Let me just try to see if I can find it. There's so much stuff on Twitter. Why is there so much stuff? And
you know what always happens to me is I'll see something and then I'll go back and try and find it and I can never find it on Twitter.
Squirrel.
It gets lost in the feed. But yeah, I mean the battle armor will be pretty cool. I'm looking forward to seeing all the minis. Yeah, such an improvement over the minis we've had over the decades.
Oh yeah, I mean, you wish they could just like redo them, but you know, you also have to say, oh, here it is, Alan Blackwell.
Alan Blackwell is awesome.
So I'm gonna drop his link in chat.
Blackwell's
for you guys.
been around for a long time doing BattleTech.
Let me add this to the notes because so we can. He is fantastic, and he was doing the Nova from the BattleTech Clan Invasion Kickstarter. So he's got a render there. I love all of his artwork because he came in and started early on. He was doing like his interpretations of like the mechs, like on our forums and stuff, and then he was posting over, and it was completely different. Like he didn't have any. Anyways, it was just really awesome. But I'm excited because he's a great artist, and it's cool to see that he's actually doing something. So Alan Blackwell, if you are listening, keep up the fantastic work.
Good stuff, man.
It is so awesome. We got that on the notes, so we'll have his Twitter linked. Oh man, it's so cool seeing. I mean, and that's Now you can say there's something to be said about the nostalgia and the ugliness, and
well, it just makes. Hey Dan, you got to have lesser material out there in order to make you appreciate the better stuff.
Is that like people too? Man. You got to have really ugly people to appreciate really good looking people.
Yes,
is that what it
absolutely.
Is? You know, really ugly cars.
And we get
really
we
nice
get our
cars.
fair share of ugly people and wonderful people.
Oh,
no, but you know, it's appreciating the little things, and obviously modern BattleTech MechWarrior art is it's great. It's the best that we've ever seen, and the artists that are involved from MechWarrior Online to BattleTech to Catalyst or whatever, just some of the best artists out there right now. So it's always fun either seeing new 2D art or you know the 3D sculpts or whatever's going on. Just amazing work. So good time to see all that.
I was gonna say, like, do you have any mech? Well, you're gonna say Warhammer. Why do I even ask?
Okay, I won't say Warhammer.
Okay, of the 4 main unseen.
I won't say the Alpha Lance.
Yeah, Alpha Lance. Is there anything that you would love to see in Mech 5 that you haven't seen in like MWO?
Well, just the rest of the unseen. You know, I want to see the Wasp and the Stinger. I want to see the Ostrak. I want to see. I don't know. There's probably a half a dozen more that are still unseen. So what is it? The longbow, because we all need more LRMs. But you know, I just want to see those. I don't want to use the term rescene because I don't like the rescene, but I want to see those done again. Yes.
Well, it's like all the other designs, they're being revisioned. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, it's like the new, they're updated.
I think they look, you know, just more realistic these days, obviously, right? Because the art styles have evolved. And so, I want to see the rest of the unseen is what I would like to see personally.
I can see that.
What about you? Anything in particular? One mech, rule them all.
Oh man, that's a good question.
There's so many.
Because I mean, my favorites are in. I mean, my favorite mech in BattleTech across the board has always been the Timberwolf. Like that's always just been, that's my thing. Outside of games, just like the lore and then the artwork, I've always loved the Timberwolf. But just thinking, there's a lot of. Hold on, let me. I've got one in mind, but I want to make sure that it's of that time frame.
Abort, and that's force perspective. We're using the same technology that.
Here it is. Is this
what's his name used on Lord of the Rings?
It may not be. Of course, it has peep goss. Of course, it would. But the Devastator. It's an IS assault. It's a
so meta
100-ton. I've always I don't know. There's just always been something to it. You read about it in the novels and stuff. I don't know. The Caesar. I mean, we have quite a few of them.
There's still some mechs out there, man.
Yeah, I mean, well, there's a ton of mechs. I didn't want to mention any clan ones because it's not.
Well, because they're clan, but yeah.
Right. But I mean, he did. By the way, going back to the Mech 5 AMA, he did. Someone asked about, will I be able to fight Comstar on Terra or be Comstar on Terra?
Right.
And he did say, and he alluded to possible DLC. You never know.
Right.
Basically,
not at launch. Yeah.
Right. That's what he said. Yeah. So I don't know. Like, to me, I'm not as concerned with the mechs. For me, I feel like the mechs, just like I see with what's happened with BattleTech, by HBS, the mod scene. I mean, literally, they have any.
Oh, I'm not concerned about the number of mechs. We already have, just from MWO, a ton of mechs. So I'm fine with that. I'm more, interested in storyline, replayability, modding. Modding's a huge one, which he did mention.
Yeah,
he wants to have one more AMA specifically about modding. So it'll be good to hear some info on that. Really, modding is, to me, almost the biggest topic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's unlimited, though, as far as the discussion. And I don't know how, because he said, I don't know how much info I can give. But yeah, I mean, we're not too far off. I mean, it's on one hand, it sucks because I'm right there. I mean, Daeron and I are in the same boat as you guys. I wish it was literally a month from now would be able to play, but it looks like it'll be a month and it'll be 6 weeks until we can. So,
yep. And then we will be playing the hell out of it.
Right.
We got to get our lance together.
Yeah. So we'll just have to. We'll have to see. We'll have to wait.
That is indeed true. So there's going to be another AMA tonight. That'll be happening at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. We'll be recording that, and then we'll be releasing both of the AMAs tomorrow. And otherwise, we'll be returning to our normal streaming schedule tomorrow as well. Do some more streaming and still earning and betting and losing and have some more fun together tomorrow.
That roulette, man,
Gambling's dangerous.
I'm saying, man, some people can't even.
You can go from the top, right, Vidarian, and then
he'll be back though. Don't let him fool you.
He will be back.
Yeah, he'll be back. But it has been fun, and like I said, for me, being a streamer, if you're a streamer out there, definitely check it out. It's something that can add value, and like I said, the stream elements for me has been nice. It's been nice me and you, because now we have the exact same overlay. We don't have to worry about information. It was super easy to set up. You're not a wizard at OBS, and yet it only took a few clicks. So,
hey, I was managing before that, but yes.
No. What I'm saying though is it's super easy. That's.
Don't call me not a wizard.
I'm just
Hobbit.
Someone just mentioned they're your camera and perspective.
The perspective, I know.
It's
force perspective.
It's actually about true. I mean, it's really not.
That is actually pretty accurate, isn't it?
It's not. God, I still remember that picture with me, you, and Devin. Just here I am in the middle.
I know.
Oh man, Starwolf. I'd just like to point out that you need to grow your beard back. Think of the children. Just
Think of the children's children.
Oh, man.
All right. Children shouldn't be having children. Let's move on and wrap this up. Like I mentioned, we'll be back tomorrow, and we'll have the AMA up, or the AMAs up tomorrow as well. And we look forward to seeing you in our stream.
And of course, this podcast is supported by you, the viewer. Please consider supporting us in a variety of ways. Following, listening, liking. Also, if you're listening on YouTube and you enjoyed this, click that like button. That way the algorithm knows that you liked it and all that fun stuff. And if you aren't a subscriber on our YouTube, click that link. If you're listening over at SoundCloud, I don't know if they have a like button, but if they do, click it. That'll be awesome. Consider becoming a Patreon. Link and all that is down below. Check out our store. And again, a big one is if you're shopping on Amazon, we have an affiliate link. What does that do? All you do is you click through that link and you shop like normal. Maybe there's some items that we use here. Maybe you're going to upgrade your mic or your boom arm or whatever. Below the stream, we've got the same thing. You can click that. Doesn't share any information. Gives us kickbacks. Boom. Easy peasy. Super easy. Even a wizard and a hobbit can do it.
Easy peasy, super easy. That's right. And Rogard, the answer to your question is that we sure hope so. We obviously want a future for MWO and potentially MWO 2.0 or whatever. So all fingers crossed. Be sure to check out our website at NoGutsNoGalaxy.net. Check us out on Twitch at NGNG TV, YouTube at NoGutsNoGalaxy TV, Twitter at NoGutsNoGalaxy, Facebook at NoGutsNoGalaxy Podcasts, SoundCloud at NoGutsNoGalaxy. And for all the latest and greatest in mech porn t-shirts and mugs, be sure to check out NoGutsNoGalaxyStore.com.
This was your local No Guts, No Galaxy MechWarrior podcast. Signing off for tonight. This is Phil.
And this is Daeron.
Until next time, Mech Warriors. We're
Are we
there.
sinking?
We're doing so much better.
Only 8 years.
God, our anniversary is coming up.
It is.
Oh my God.
Halloween.